Ukraine's ambush on China's covert mission. Footage you must see October 14, 2025, 03:11 a.m. The Black Sea was calm, but the radar screens at NATO command in Constanza showed something impossible. A Russian freighter the size of a football field had vanished mid-transit. Its last known signal was 30 nautical miles off the Crimean coast. Then, nothing. No explosion, no distress call, no debris. Just silence. That silence didn't last long. Minutes later, a surveillance drone belonging to Ukraine's LANTER system picked up a faint heat bloom beneath the surface, one that shouldn't have been there. Analysts zoomed in, frame by frame. The image revealed a dark, oblong shadow gliding beneath the waterline, moving too fast and too steady to be debris. It was mechanical, controlled, and it was headed directly toward the cargo lanes that feed Europe's southern ports. The freighter in question was the SS Voronezh, officially registered as a civilian transport vessel. But intelligence reports had long whispered otherwise, that beneath its shipping containers lay 12 canisters of DF-15 medium-range missile components smuggled from Dalian under Norinco cover contracts. The ship had departed from Novorossiysk 4 days earlier, sailing under Chinese crew and Russian military supervision. It was never meant to be tracked, but now it was gone. At 3:19, Kiev's Defense Command activated Operation Iron Ghost, an emergency recon directive designed to uncover stealth logistics routes through the Black Sea. Within minutes, 3 reconnaissance drones lifted from Mykolaiv, flying low along the curvature of the coastline. They carried dual-band EO/IR sensors, capable of piercing marine fog and detecting submerged objects at depths up to 60 meters. What they saw redefined the night. Below the waves, a network of faint metallic signals flickered like veins of light. Not a single submarine, but several. 9 in total. All without active sonar signatures. These weren't conventional Russian attack subs. They were drone submarines, remote-guided cargo carriers, part of a new project rumored within Russian defense circles as Poseidon's Shadow. Their purpose? To transport strategic payloads under the sea, invisible to radar, beyond sanctions, and beyond accountability. Ukraine's ABOCI operator cross-referenced the data with intercepted communications from an earlier cyber breach into Russian logistics servers. A single code phrase repeated, Project Rusalka, Deployment 03. Rusalka, meaning the drowned maiden, was Moscow's latest secret, an underwater ghost fleet that could move warheads beneath the world's most watched waters. By 3:33 a.m., satellite LANTER 21 locked visual coordinates. Kiev's defense chief gave the order, intercept and expose. What followed next would become one of the boldest operations of the war, a strike that no one saw, and yet everyone felt. Because in less than 1 hour, the Black Sea would erupt with silent detonations that no camera caught, no radar tracked, and no government would ever fully admit. If you want to understand how the single night changed naval warfare forever, stay tuned and make sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss the footage and breakdowns coming next. 03:42 a.m. The Black Sea. The 3 Ukrainian drones flying in tight formation picked up a pulse pattern that didn't match any known submarine class. It wasn't Russian sonar nor Chinese export tech. The signal pulsed at irregular intervals, shifting between frequencies like a heartbeat trying to disguise itself. AI filters labeled it synthetic, possibly generated by quantum randomized encryption, a type of stealth guidance signal that had only been theorized, never confirmed in combat. Until now. Inside Kiev's underground command center, technicians watched the data stream across 8 screens. The deeper the drone scanned, the clearer the image became. 9 vessels in total, their heat signatures faint, but consistent with modular subs running hybrid power systems, half diesel, half battery-fed plasma coils. The lead vessel carried a reinforced bow with magnetic shielding. Its name, faintly stenciled under layers of grime, read Rusalka 01. The realization struck hard. Russia and China weren't testing underwater drones. They were already deploying them, and worse, they were transporting something far more dangerous than cargo. A cross-analysis of encrypted pings revealed radiation traces equivalent to warhead-grade isotopes. These ghost subs were carrying payloads meant for launch assembly, possibly nuclear. The decision chain in Kiev snapped into focus. The LANTER satellite recalibrated its orbit. Orders were relayed through encrypted fiber to NATO's maritime desk in Bucharest. And within minutes, a single Ukrainian TB-2 Bayraktar drone switched into autonomous strike mode. Its target, the Rusalka fleet's midline relay, a command buoy anchored 54 meters below the surface, responsible for maintaining encrypted communications between the subs. 03:58 a.m. Over the water, the Bayraktar circled once, its infrared lens slicing through fog like a blade. Then, without any radio chatter, it dropped a sonar-guided micro-torpedo the size of a football. It slipped into the waves soundlessly. Below, the Rusalka buoy's signal flickered once, then died. For 6 seconds, everything went dark. No data, no guidance, no synchronization. Then chaos. The 9 drone submarines, now blind and unsynchronized, began to drift. One turned 90 degrees off course and struck another at low depth, triggering a localized implosion. A plume of bubbles broke the surface like the sea exhaling. Sensors confirmed a detonation equivalent to 300 kilograms of TNT, small, but enough to reveal the presence of the entire fleet. That was all Kiev needed. The coordinates were locked. "Execute Phase 2, came the voice from command. At 4:05 a.m., Ukraine deployed something entirely new, a prototype underwater drone called Skif. Built from recycled missile guidance parts and powered by a lithium hybrid cell, Skif wasn't designed for offense. It was built to jam. As it descended, it emitted bursts of sonar interference, mimicking the frequencies of the Rusalka fleet, creating hundreds of false echoes across Russian radar. To Moscow, it now looked like a swarm of over 50 targets advancing from the south. Panic spread through their command network. Orders clashed, missiles armed prematurely, and deep below, the Rusalka fleet was unknowingly swimming straight into an ambush, because the sea itself was about to turn against them. 4:11 a.m., the Black Sea. The night sky above Crimea looked still, but beneath the surface it was chaos. The Rusalka fleet, 9 autonomous submarines built to glide unseen, had lost all synchronization. Their encrypted navigation grid, once precise to the centimeter, now spat conflicting coordinates. One sub veered upward, another downward, their propellers cutting trails through the dark like wounded animals. Inside Ukraine's LANTER command bunker, digital maps glowed crimson. Operators watched sonar telemetry scrolling faster than anyone could read. The Skif drone was working. Its pulse emitters had generated over 600 false sonar signatures across a 10-mile radius, tricking Russian systems into thinking an entire NATO task force had appeared out of nowhere. For the first time since the war began, Moscow's undersea network panicked. The Russian fleet commander ordered immediate counterfire from Sevastopol, 2 anti-submarine missiles, launched blind into the sea. But both exploded harmlessly in empty water. They had struck phantom echoes. At 4:19 a.m., Ukraine deployed the next phase. The signal was sent through an encrypted LANTER uplink to activate the Black Finch, a pair of experimental surface drones disguised as fishing trawlers drifting 30 miles off the coast. Each carried a single payload, a shock charge electromagnetic pulse designed to neutralize electronics within a 500-meter radius underwater. The first detonation hit at 4:21. There was no sound, no explosion, only a dull flash beneath the waves. But the effect was instant. Rusalka 03's power grid fried in an instant. Its ballast pumps failed, sending it spiraling upward. When it breached, the shock wave shattered the surface tension like glass. Within seconds, 2 more subs lost power. Kiev's operators cheered quietly, but the mission was far from over. The surviving Rusalkas were still armed, still carrying what intelligence confirmed to be nuclear-capable components. One of them, Rusalka 01, began transmitting an emergency beacon toward Sevastopol. If the signal reached command, Russian defenses could retaliate before Ukraine finished the strike. At 4:24 a.m., a single command cut through the bunker. Alpha Strike. Now 4 underwater drones, nicknamed Sables, were released from Ukrainian naval units near Snake Island. Each one small enough to fit in a pickup truck, moving silently at 18 knots. Their mission: eliminate the remaining Rusalkas before any could transmit. The first Sable reached target range at 429. It released a shaped charge that detonated directly beneath Rusalka 05's hull. The resulting implosion crushed it like paper. Rusalka 02 tried to dive, but its thermal weight gave it away. A second Sable followed, striking dead center. Two eruptions lit up the sonar screen like underwater lightning. By 4:34 a.m., only one target remained: Rusalka 01, the command vessel. It was deeper, slower, but heavily shielded. The last Sable drone locked on and dove. At 4:37, it collided with the hull. The impact sent a pressure wave so strong that NATO sonar buoys near Romania detected it seconds later. Then came silence. The fleet was gone. The water calmed. And yet no one in Kiev celebrated, because as their instruments recalibrated, a new signature appeared, one they didn't expect. A metallic object was rising from the depths, larger than any of the Rusalkas, emitting a beacon in an unknown frequency. It wasn't Russian, it wasn't Ukrainian, it was something else. 4:59 a.m. The dawn light crawled over the horizon, turning the surface silver. Smoke rose in thin ribbons where the Rusalkas had died. But the object that surfaced wasn't debris, it was deliberate. Smooth, angular, matte black, about 12 meters long. It emitted no signal, yet every NATO radar caught it instantly. The object was tagged as Unknown Maritime Unit 47. Kiev's control center went silent. LANTER sensors magnified the feed. The craft bore markings no one expected: Type J S-11, Autonomous Subsurface Platform, People's Liberation Navy. It wasn't Russian, it was Chinese. The realization tore through Allied channels within seconds. This wasn't just a Russian operation, it was a joint test, an experiment in transcontinental drone warfare. Beijing had been mapping the Black Sea using Russia's war as a cover, testing how deep AI-driven weapons could travel undetected across foreign waters. At 5:07, NATO declared an emergency maritime lockdown. All civilian ships between Constanza and Odessa were ordered to halt. Within hours, global markets felt the tremor. Crude oil spiked by 7%. Shipping insurance surged overnight. Russia denied everything. China called the incident a Western fabrication, but the data was undeniable. The recovered fragments from Rusalka 01 showed microchips traced to a Shenzhen-based defense manufacturer. Each chip carried neural sync architecture identical to those inside China's latest stealth drones. The evidence was clear: the Black Sea had become the testing ground for a new kind of warfare, one that blurred the lines between nations, automation, and accountability. As the sun rose, a final transmission from the Ukrainian command center flashed across encrypted networks. It read simply, "Iron Ghost successful." Unknown variables remain. No one slept that day in Kiev. No one spoke openly about what had been found. Inside every war room from Washington to Beijing, one truth settled hard: the era of visible warfare was over. The next battles would be silent and fought beneath the sea.